Hi everyone, it's Sandra from Sandra Bianco Photography, and welcome to the new Innocence Collection Snow Day. So we are going to go ahead and jump right into this image. The very first thing I did was I went ahead and retouched her skin lightly before I started. So that part is done. The next thing we want to do is we want to get a really good selection around our subject in order to place all of the background tones on this image. So I already went ahead and did that here. So you're going to see my mask there, but I just want to take you through really quickly and show you how I did that. So I'm just going to grab my quick selection tool over here. I'm going to click on select subject. And that's going to make a pretty good selection around our subject. I'm going to then click on select and mask. And simply from here, I would just go, I'm going to keep my edge detection on, my radius to 1 pixel, and my smart radius checked on. And all you would need to do is just go around where you want to pick up like these little fine hairs around her face, around her hat, and that would be your selection. Once you're done with that, you can just hit OK. And then once you have your mask selected, if you just hit levels, that's going to be your mouse. So you're just going to keep that here. You can even click it off, but that's just a quick way to get a good selection. Okay, so we're going to go back into mine that I've already done, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into this. So I am going to go ahead and start with a color base, and I'm going to run Abominable Color Base. And I'm going to go ahead and take that down to about 54%. Somewhere in there. I'm just eyeballing it. There's no rhyme or reason. You're just going to have to eyeball and see what looks really good to you. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and leave that on the entire image. The next thing I'm going to run is Veil. And that's going to give us a nice blue-green color in the background. I now want to take my layer mask. I'm just going to go ahead, whoops, sorry about that. I'm going to click on my Option key and drag that up into Veil. And then I'm going to go ahead and invert it, Command-I. And now you can see it's not on my subject, it's just on the background of the image. Okay. The next thing I'm going to go down to is Jackson Hole. And I'm going to go ahead and take my opacity way down on this, about 25%. Again, I'm going to go ahead and drag my mask up, Option and drag. And then I'm also going to run Breckenridge, which is a cool haze. And again, I'm going to go ahead and drag my mask. So you can see by creating the mask in the first place, it's just going to make life easier throughout the rest of the edit. Okay, so Breckenridge we're going to go ahead and take down. Again, I'm just eyeballing it, but I'm liking these like green blue tones that are coming into the image. The next thing we're going to do is go down to our winter tones, and I'm going to go ahead and select White Christmas. And I'm just going to take this down a little bit. We're actually going to run this again in a minute. And I'm going to go ahead and select my mask and drag it up. And then we're going to go down to our flocking brush. And so I'm going to go ahead and just take my opacity down on this. And I'm going to keep my brush about this size. Go ahead and close that. And I just want to lightly dust some of this on. I want to leave my shadow, so I'm concentrating more on the edges of the branches. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that lightly. The next thing we're going to do is go down to Snowstorm. And these are background brush palettes. So I like this first one. You'll see, I'm going to go ahead and put this on at 100%. And it just brings in that more of a blue tone. So I'm going to go ahead and paint that on there. And then I'm going to come down and I'm going to go to Frost Haze Ivory. And I'm going to go ahead and select Upper Ivory. And I'm going to take this down. I'm going to go ahead and mask this off of her hair. I'm going to actually leave some of this on her face because I feel like her face needed to be a little bit brighter. Let me take a little bit of that off. And then I'm also going to go ahead and get my brush bigger and again go through some of these shadows so that there's still some definition to this image. Because as much as I like the haze, I don't want to just wash out the image. And then I'll go ahead and reduce my opacity, and I'm going to take a little bit off of her face. Okay, so that's looking good. Next thing I'm going to do is run a vignette, and I'm going to choose Twilight. And that gives it a little bit more of a bluish tone. And I'm just going to go ahead and take my opacity down. And I'm also going to my brush is still at 47%. I'm just going to go ahead and mask off this area just a little bit. Then I'm also going to go ahead and run Frost. And that's bringing in that really pretty hazy look just all around the image because it's a vignette. I'm going to go ahead and take this down. And again, I'm just going to go ahead, get my brush a little bit higher and go through the shadows of the branches. Of course, I'm doing this fast just for tutorial purposes, but I just want to bring out some of those shadows so it's not totally washed out. Okay. I'm going to go back up to White Christmas. Sometimes I like to run these twice, just depending on, I just want to get that really like pretty, see how it like almost flocked the trees again on its own. Just going to go ahead and take that down. And I'm going to go ahead and drag my mask up. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and flatten this. We can just take a quick snapshot. I'm going to go ahead and flatten this. And the reason I'm flattening it is because I'm about to run one of the velveteens, and when you run those, it flattens it anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Flurry. You can see what that does here. So it's kind of bringing everything out and together and smoothing things out a bit. I'm going to take that down just a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and run one of our snow overlays. So we're going to come down here into the snow overlay applicator, hit play, and I just have mine on the side here, Snow Day, and I am going to choose number 11. You might actually put 2 on here. But once it comes up, you just move it and drag it into your image. And I can show you, so you can see that just sort of pulls it all together and is giving it that pretty tone, that snowy tone. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I'm clicked into the layer mask. I'm going to reduce my brush opacity to about 50%, get a black brush, and I just want to kind of fade some of these out, and especially on my subject, you know, if there's any big chunk on her face, I'm going to go ahead and take that off. And just fade, especially some of these ones on the edges or that are just a little bit too bright to be like where they are falling. I just want to go ahead and make it look as natural as possible. So I'm just doing that quickly. And let's go ahead and run another one just so that you can see. I'm going to, again, go to my snow overlay applicator. And I'm going to just let's pick number 8. This also, and I want to show you, so if I just hit Control, I can flip this, so I can flip it horizontal so that the haze is coming over and to the left. I can also flip it vertical. If you're on a vertical image, you can just flip it 90 degrees and work with it that way. So I'm just going to hit OK. And again, I'm going to go ahead and take my opacity down on that and just mask a little bit of this off. So kind of go around my subject first, and then I'll just start fading some of these a little bit of brighter ones. Okay, we're going to go into color boost, and I'm going to go ahead and take that opacity down, and I'm going to go ahead and mask this off of my subject. So this is where we lost our mask because we had to flatten for the velveteen. So I'm just going to just go over this by hand quickly. And you don't have to be as careful because it's a color boost and it's not like going onto, it's just not as noticeable like around her hat and everything like that. Okay. So that looks good. And I'm going to run one more Frost and Haze. I'm going to run Glacier. So I just want to bring up a little bit more of that haze into the bottom portion of the image. I'll go ahead and just reduce my opacity. I'm going to click in my mask, and I'm going to go ahead and mask this off of more of the top of this image so I don't lose all that definition up there. Okay, that's looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten this. And one of the last things I'm going to do, you can either go grab your flocking brush, or sometimes I just like to grab my dodge tool, just your straight up dodge tool. And I'm just going to go ahead and go over some of these branches on the edges to give it just a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of definition. And you can see it's flocking it a little bit more because it's just adding highlights. I wouldn't want to really go down in here because it's already pretty white and you don't want to start getting it too blown out. So that's all I would do. I'm just sort of tapping it on there and bringing out some of that sparkle. Okay, let's go ahead and flatten this. And we'll take a snapshot and I'll show you the before and after. So that's the before and that's the after. Before, after. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm ready to see all of your winter wonderland images coming through. In order to purchase this set, please visit greaterthangatsby.com. And this is going to be located in the overlays section. So that's where you'll be able to find it. So it's greaterthangatsby.com in the overlay section and look for the Innocent Snow Day. I hope you enjoyed it and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.